Fans were getting into it, the bench was getting into it, the players on the floor were getting into it. Just like you said, just the momentum just changed.
They say everything's bigger in Texas. Whether you're in Texas or playing Texas, it's a massive come-from-behind win for Temple men's basketball versus SMU. Access granted. A brand new episode of OwlAccess Pass starts right now. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another week of OwlAccess Pass. I'm Sean McGeehan. My co-host Dan Wilson will be joining the show in just a bit. Today, we talk some XFL, lacrosse, fencing, and of course, plenty of basketball, including a conference matchup versus SMU for men's hoops. A Saturday matinee at the Liacouras Center. And if you're a Temple fan, close your eyes in the first half recap because it's an ugly one. Quentin Rose dishes it out to Alani Moore for a brick three. There are certainly plenty of those in this game. To the other end now of the court, where Ferran Hunt of SMU gets the mid-range jumper to drop for 2 of his 11 points on the night. Back to the Owls now. It's driving in the lane this time, and it results in Monty Scott picking up an easy 2 points. But SMU was simply on fire from deep in the first half and put Temple's on its heels after the first 20 minutes. After those first 20 minutes, Temple found itself down 17 points. The Owls shot just 2 of 11 from three-point range in the first half. That's only 18%. SMU, on the other hand, shot a scorching hot 63% from the field. Temple did earn a 46% field goal percentage in half number 1, but the Mustangs' red-hot shooting from three-point range helped them build up a huge lead. They thought they had Temple on their heels, but not quite. Let's head to the second half, where Temple gets back to what it's prided itself on all season long. That's defense. This leads to some easy buckets in transition. As you see here, the Owls going down the court, and they find Josh Pierre-Louis for an easy triple. And now it's the Owls starting to heat up from long range. This time, it's the sharpshooter Alani Moore getting 3 points to drop, and the Owls once trailed by as many as 19 points. But now Temple comes all the way back to force overtime, and in OT, Quentin Rose gets a tough 2 to fall here to extend the Owls' lead and make him the AAC's all-time leader in points scored. Temple outscores SMU 17-10 in overtime, including 10 from Rose himself, and the Owls earn a spectacular comeback victory by a final of 97-90. What a difference one half can make. SMU shoots only 33% from the field and 25% from 3 in the second half. But what really stands out is Temple stats from the final 20 minutes. The Owls put up video game-like numbers in the second half. Just check the numbers. 78% from 3 and 71% shooting. That's about the only way you can come back from a 19-point deficit. The comeback was fueled by captain Quentin Rose, who totaled 25 points on the night. And as mentioned previously, Rose is now the AAC's all-time leader in points with 1,718, passing Houston's Rob Gary at number 1. Rose also added 3 blocks on the day, which ties a career high. Monty Scott also played his best game as an Owl, finishing with career highs in both points and assists, totaling 22 and 6 respectively. Alani Moore also chipped into the comeback with 14 points and 4 3-pointers made on the day, and the Owls did all this shorthanded as they were missing J.P. Moorman and Devondre Perry to injuries.
We know we can play defense for 30 seconds, just good defense. Our problem is sometimes we get in trouble on the boards, and we know with a small lineup we had to hit first, and everybody had to crash, all 5 guys.
Knowing at the same time that we put ourselves in harm's way because, those guys rebound the ball well. Offensively rebound the ball well. So we had to roll the dice a little bit and change some things up.
One of the key players in the SMU comeback win was Jake Forrester, a transfer student who's had a big impact on Temple's season despite being new to the program. Joining us now to talk a bit more about Forrester's transfer journey is my co-host Dan Wilson. Hey, Dan.
Thanks, Sean. Aaron McKee first saw Jake Forrester play when he was in high school, and he was immediately impressed. But when it came down to decision time, Forrester chose Indiana. Fast forward to the present day, and Forrester not only wears the cherry and white, he's also made an immediate impact.
Jake Forrester's journey has been different.
Jake Forrester!
In just his first year with the Owls, Forrester has worked his way into the starting lineup. even though at the start of the year, he wasn't sure he was going to play at all. At the start of the season, the sophomore big man was deemed ineligible thanks to NCAA transfer rules, but Forrester applied for a waiver and won.
He called me and just said, "Are you ready to play this weekend?" And I was just hyped. I was like, "Yeah, I'm so ready to play." And then I kind of hung up with him and called my parents off right away.
But I had called him that night and said, "Hey man, get yourself ready. The next day, you got your waiver. Your waiver went through, and be ready to go." And he was, super excited.
A Harrisburg, Pennsylvania native and a graduate of the Westtown School in Westchester, Jake Forrester went out to Indiana for his freshman year before transferring back to the East Coast here at Temple.
Aaron McKee, player coach. It's just good to have that view and his knowledge of the game, and so I'm learning a lot from being around him.
Forrester decided to join the Owls at the beginning of the Aaron McKee era. He also decided to join forces with Temple forward Arashma Parks, someone he's known since 8th grade when they played AAU together.
Jacob dog. So I knew he was gonna play higher than me or something like that. So he went to Indiana, but I was always still in the back of his ear like, "Yo, you still can come to Temple."
In my head, I consider this like my first year playing because I'm really out here playing.
And he's making it count, as he's currently 4th on the team in scoring. Not bad for a guy who the Owls didn't expect to have until next fall.
The news of Forrester's waiver approval came just before the Owls' trip to the Orlando Invitational over the Thanksgiving holiday, a tournament in which he played in all 3 games. Forrester has missed just 1 game since, establishing himself as a critical and consistent part of Aaron McKee's squad moving forward. Sean, back to you.
All right, Dan, thanks so much. Let's talk some women's basketball and the trip down to Florida that the team is looking to forget. USF beat Temple by 48 points in this game, and there's really no way to make that one sound pretty. Temple was out-rebounded 43-27, were outscored in the first half 58-16, which means if USF didn't score a single point in the entire second half, the Owls still would have lost by 7. Temple shot just 29% from the field in this big loss, and it came as a shock, especially because Temple beat USF 69-66 at McGonigal Hall earlier this season. Regardless, it's a nasty one. Final score, 99-51 USF. To women's lacrosse, where the Owls opened up their season versus George Washington down at Howarth Field. Temple started this game off hot, scoring 3 goals in the first 4 minutes of the game. The Owls doubled the Colonials in first half goals 10-5 and scored 17 total on the day compared to George Washington's 8, including 4 from Olivia Thompson, which led the team. The AAC preseason all-conference member Maddie Giebert finished with 3 goals of her own on the day as well. That's 1-0 for the Owls to start the season. Next up for the team is a home game against Rutgers on Wednesday. Temple fencing is the hottest team on campus at the moment. The Owls are currently ranked number 5 in the nation and have built an outstanding resume in 2020. At the Philadelphia Invitational in January, the team went 4-2 overall and beat 3 top 10 teams. A few weeks later, at the Northwestern meet, the Owls did lose, but it was to a number 1 ranked Princeton team and only by 1 point. And just earlier this week at the Duke Invitational, Temple beat number 3 ranked Notre Dame en route to a perfect 5-0 weekend. Not too shabby of a season for head coach Nikki Frank and company. Temple football fans have been wondering where the Owls will be playing next season, and there's finally an answer. The Owls are staying at Lincoln Financial Field after coming to an agreement with the Philadelphia Eagles. The deal allows Temple to play its home games at the Link for the next 5 seasons, and this deal also comes with a 5-year option that could end up running through 2029. Financial terms of the deal have not been disclosed, and despite the newly inked deal, Temple has still not given up hope on constructing its own on-campus stadium in the near future. Some former Owls who used to call the Link home made their XFL debut this weekend and lit up the scene, especially quarterback P.J. Walker, who completed 23 passes and threw for 4 touchdowns and 279 yards in a win for the Houston Roughnecks. Former Temple tight end Cole Boozer and the D.C. Defenders also picked up a win versus the Seattle Dragons. Jalen Robinson, Evan Rodriguez, and Adonis Jennings also made their debuts with the XFL on their respective teams, and these are just 5 of the 7 Owls who were selected to an XFL roster. that will do it for this edition of OwlAccess Pass. But be sure to check out our Twitter at OwlSports Update tomorrow for another episode of Courts in Session, and tune in live this Thursday at noon for another episode of OwlSports Update with Brooklyn Vaughn and Dom Gillespie. For Dan Wilson and the entire crew of OwlAccess Pass, I'm Sean McGeehan. Have a great week, everybody.